So let us get started. So today is the due date for the Halloween Design Challenge. So let's talk about how to involve yourself in these challenges. Hey Istebrak, how do I get into these challenges? How do I read the brief? Where are you hosting the challenge? How do I participate in the challenge? What are the challenge rules? Well, if you want to join challenges, you go to istebrak.com and click on the Reddit icon here. That will take you to the subreddit. I usually pin all currently running challenges on the top of the page. So right here is the holiday design challenge. This is the new challenge for this holiday season. Basically, you can make any animal or fantastical creature of your own design, but it has to be out of ice and snow and all the translucent winter elements. So frozen water mixed with snowy crystallized at the top, or a bubbly crystalline creature, or a dragon or a snake or what have you. Read through the brief. I will amend it as I go with any questions attached to. You guys seem to have a pretty good idea of what's happening, so no questions have been asked, but if anyone has any questions, you have to ask them here so that everyone can see the answer. So if you join and submit, this is where I pick all the pieces for the Halloween Design Challenge. So how are you guys liking these challenges? Did you guys have fun? Are you interested in joining the next one? What do you guys say? Ice snow creature. Yes, Demon Olaf, here we come. I'm so sorry about my coughing. I'm not sure why I am coughing. I'm pretty sure it's the dust storm that happened in my house earlier. But what else did I want to say? So yes, there's 3.1k members in the Reddit community, and you're all benefiting from this channel. So if you are interested in giving back to the community, even just joining as $1 patron helps the channel significantly. It helps keep us independent. It helps continue the challenge for a longer period of time, for the longevity and posterity of the challenge. If you have joined and you have joined one of our challenges, or if you've gotten a critique in the past from the stuff you posted on the wall, you can join as a patron. Even again, just as a $1 patron. Let me just make sure I'm not logged in. Even just as a $1 patron goes a long way. And if that's all of us joining, that's $3,000 a month that we're directing towards supporting myself and the channel. Again, I don't work with any marketing. I don't work with any kind of stuff. All of my videos are put on not friendly for children because I look at poses sometimes and figures, and that significantly drops what I can make a year off YouTube. So I'm not going to change my content. I'm not going to shorten my videos. I'm never going to use clickbait. I'm never going to use clickbaity titles or content. I basically have actual lectures online for free for you guys, and I'm just running off what support you guys send towards the channel. So if you do want to join, this is a call to have at least 1,000 patrons at $1, 1,000 patrons in total by the I guess it's a long shot to say by the end of the year, but by June next year. So it's a wide enough time period, but I do want to invite all of you to join. Anyone watching right now, just go to Patreon and join as a $1 patron if you can. I do want to, for the new year, host more challenges, maybe monthly or every 2-month challenges. It was because I bought my house and I was renovating it because it was just run down pile of sticks. So I was renovating it from January or February, early February into June and July, and right now we're back at renovations. So that's why I had no time to host any challenges in that half the year, and then COVID happened, and then I got coronavirus. So it was some crazy business happening, but next year I hope to host more challenges, fun spring related challenges, seasonal, festive related challenges. I wouldn't say I'm not a Christian and I'm not hosting challenges based off Christian holidays. But I do want to host more fun religion lore related challenges. For instance, Eid. I'm not a devout Muslim or anything, but I want to kind of host something Middle Eastern or desert themed. I'm looking at cool spring or seasonal changes or equinox and all of that. Basically the Halloween challenge, but springtime, so spring related themes, weather change, the fairies that bring the weather, or creature designs, and then of course embedding magical elements and everything. So challenges are a big part of this community. They're the heart and soul of this community. It's why this community is so fun, because everyone joins. It's the most fun part really about being a part of the Reddit, and that's what we did way back when we had the community hosted through different servers and different websites and all of that. So find us there on Reddit. And then there is the Portrait Studio sale, which will happen sometime mid-November. I will start the campaign season, I guess we can call it, though I hate that word now, next week, God willing. You know, we get some good news next week, or you know, obviously by the 3rd we should hear something nice, but a finalized decision on the campaign that's currently happening in the United States that will affect the whole world for the next 4 years, possibly 8 years. Hopefully we have some good news next week. Did I say next year? Next week we have good news. But yes, I'll start on the 1st of November, basically the 3rd, moving out towards mid-November. All of the, I'm getting a lot of messages about when Portrait Studio will be on sale, when it will be affordable again. It should be more affordable now than it ever was, but it will go down again, back down to $45, possibly $40, almost less than half, 60% off about what it used to be. So it will be very affordable for the holiday season for anyone who wants to buy it, gift it, have any New Year's resolutions with studies and all of that. But I'll get into that next week. That's it for announcements. Let's get started on the Halloween design challenge. Creature designs, not character designs. Okay. I want to join very much. It's a great prompt and I'll do my best, so we'll see. This challenge was fun, but exams will probably hinder me from participating in the next one. It's okay. Thank you for joining this one, though. I hope it was fun. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it makes you love your art again and makes you love the process. It's not always studies. It shouldn't just be a wall of 14-day challenges and portraits. And that's why I'm saying these challenges are so incredibly important, or else without them it would just be a wall of 14-day challenges and grayscale for studies. It's good to take a break and attempt a masterpiece, or not a masterpiece I would say, but a piece, period, so that you can see where your issues are. That's one thing they're really good for. So it was a really fun prompt. Good. I'm happy you guys thought so. So let's get started. This one I saw is this, so that for the challenge you were supposed to pick a theme of the fall. It could be an element of weather. It could be an element of this, like the spirit of the fall. Like it could have been for this one it's like a time of day, or the changing of the night or the day into the night, and the darkness that takes over for the season, as well as the factor of Halloween. So you're embedding 3 layers. You're embedding cuteness, creepiness of Halloween, and then the weather and the seasonal changes and elements and elemental changes around us. So that's a really 3 tiered balance that we have to as the artist work around. I think you did a good job. I think it is very cute, but something about it doesn't read as a bat. And I think it has to do with the fact that cute almost always relies on a big head shape. So I think a big head shape would kind of help, increase the size of the smile, but also not let it feel so much like an actual adult bat, but more like a younger bat. And then for this, what I'm seeing is a smaller tail that kind of wings outward. No, it's not so much like a bat, oopsie, but it does feel a little cuter when it looks like that. So you basically just, that's what cute is you're giving it toddler shortness, or like a dwarfed shape. And I think that might help. You also are trying to give it a perspective by shortening one of the wings. That's not working. It's just making it look like it's disproportionate. Because it's such a shadowy creature, I would not recommend messing too much with the perspective. Because it's a shadowy creature, it doesn't have any plain perspective lines on it. Okay. All right. Are we gonna work, or are we gonna freak out on Istebrak? So eraser. Alright, so that should help. And then we've got the fact that you really don't have, let me use my skin and blending. I'm not sure which one to use. I might use just a scatter brush, and that might help. Let me see what this one does. Okay. That's too solid. That was for the blocking. Alright, so no, maybe. That's a strong scatter brush. And now I erase with the scatter brush as well. I'll erase with this one. Oh, shit, I used the same layer. And then just smudge the rest. Okay, and then I'm just trying to mimic the other texture here. Okay, so what you did before was you did this unusual type of, I mean the face, what you currently have it as, and what you did before is you did this really empty, just only a smile on a very long body, so you're not leaving a lot for the read of cute. Another factor that helps cute, so the seasonal, to satisfy the seasonal condition for the challenge is to just make it made out of the element, so it's made out of the shadow. The creepiness is to just, again, distort the beauty triangle. The cuteness is to have some of the beauty triangle left over. So now, right now, you only have creepy and element, which is leaving it as a horror film design. But if you want to add that cuteness back, this is something I'll be doing a lot today because I'm not in a position to design these for you guys. So I'm just going to bring in a generalized 2 spheres for a lot of these. Right, so I'm throwing in some minor perspective. But this definitely works to make it feel creepy and cute. We're giving it the large eye. And there's many ways you can pull these eyes off. Don't pull any eyes off. Right, so you can make them glow and distort them. Oops. Okay, so we've got the bloom. And then the trail, which is actually helping it read. I'm not sure how I want this trail. If I want to blur it or smudge it a lot, just to make it feel like it's in motion, or it's you know, the shift from day to night helps a lot when you have some part that remembers the day. And then I'm just going to make the mouth contain the same type of brightness. Alright, and that seems more like a more complete design. Honestly, before it just looked like an incomplete character design because you just had a mouth and no eyes. And then you can do more with this. You can go ahead and give it the slanted eyes. You can always do that. Again, I'm not here to design these for you, but to help give you options for the design. That's usually how now we have personality. And now that we have eyes, we can really mess with the mouth and have a reference system for the mouth. Because the eyes work with the mouth to create a creepy smile. It's not just mouth and no eyes, and then, you know, you just have an open mouth, which can be scary, but it's only one layer, a one-dimensional scary. So this keeps it a little bit more friendly. The fact that it's got expression. This dehumanizes it's a creature, but in essence dehumanizes it back towards a lifeless monster. So when you create expression, you're actually humanizing or creating the feel. Like, yeah, like animals don't have expression, so you're humanizing them. But I like this. It looks really, really cool. Feels like it's flapping its arms and moving its wings and all of that. So let's move on to the next one. Before I do, I'm just going to fix this perspective. All right, so we just look at the before, and we can see that it's kind of a little bit boring. not very scary. Seems a bit more like a still doll. And then you had those black holes for the eyes, which weren't working because it was already such a black creature, so it just looked like a floating mouth. And at least after, we have some element of cute and creepy mixed together. And then you can add the nose, or you can add one of those ugly bat noses, which can complete the feeling like it's a bat, like it's a really ugly, nasty bat. COVID bat. I think their noses are a little bit higher too. All right, anyway, let's move on. Let me flatten this out and move forward. If you did decide to not include any eyes, and it's just a mouth, you should not have distorted the head with the wings, because now it looks like it's the wings and the head are the same thing and it's just a blob with a mouth. So you need to, if you're going to factor out the eyes, you should have kept the shape of the head very, very readable and worked more on the head. So as a design, you could have just left the wings out of it and then given us these really cool, almost like toothless little thingies on the side of the head, just without the eyes, right? It looks good with the eyes as well, but that's just, you know, we're just over detailing. We're not honoring your original design. And you could have given us some stronger bat ears here and here. Again, we need to see something that helps us read it if you're not going to include eyes. This change I'm doing with the eyes is only because I didn't adjust the wings that you have here. All right. So for this one is really cute. Please don't put borders on your illustration. Big noob move. All right. So we have some issues here. The background isn't dark enough for what you're doing with the highlight of the moon. So careful with that. And the background is too blue. So this is going to be a tricky change for me. I'm just desaturating it because that blue is not really letting all that yellow come through. I know they're complementary, almost complementary, but they are kind of demanding. So I did that and made it a bit more gray, and that should help the yellow kind of come forward a little bit more. So what you're doing with the yellow, actually I don't like that, I want it a bit darker. So what you're doing with the yellow is that it's subsurface scattering. So it's a lot of the moonlight is coming through. In order to pull off subsurface scattering, you have to remember that it's on the shadowed side, it's in the core shadow. So it's more like the translucent fabric and then the shadows of other leaves on top. So in fact, it's not really subsurface scattering anymore. It's like, it's just an X-ray of the light. And that means that in order for it to actually feel like leaves, you're outlining this rim light that you did. This is all kind of wrong. You just need to show how the bark, the opaque object, is casting a shadow on the leaves. And that's it. It's just like a curtain. All right. So the simple way is usually the best way. And the messy way, that's subsurface mixed with outlines, mixed with some kind of ambient blue you've got over here. That is the messy way, and that's what looks noobish. All I'm doing is casting the shadow of the bark on the leaf. And over here, I'm casting the shadow of the head on the leaf. It's super simplified, super pretty, super elegant, straightforward. And because it's already glowing, these lamps of his eyes, these blue lights, are not strong enough. to bring in this ambient light on something already so enveloped in light. And it's not just that. We get the white of the moonlight and throw that on top of the leaf yellow, because that's the light that's causing the shadow of the bark to fall on the leaves. So we always use the light itself to paint with. Yes, it's that simple. No, we don't go in and choose a white yellow or a golden yellow or a yellowy yellow and an orangey mid-tone and a reddish shadow and get all these ridiculous you know, conditions upon conditions with the rim light and the subsurface dodge tool color. You really want to make it look like it's see-through material. This is how you do it. And then I'll saturate thereafter. Simple shadows go a long way. Fundamentals are simple, and that's where you get that elegance. Then I'm going to just smudge at some of these shadows, just because it's not directly behind the leaves, but a bit to the side. And the shadow itself will be distorted. And the shadows sometimes aren't stuck directly on the bark, but a little bit further displaced from the bark. Because it's only moonlight, I'm going to get my black and I'm going to drape it over anywhere where the leaves are not getting any light. And I'm going to try to cast shadows on the leaves. So for instance, this leaf here is getting cast. It has a cast shadow on it from the bark. You need to get rid of that little secondary light glow, because it's actually it's not working. It doesn't work like that. You already have a dominant light source. Alright, so areas that are getting rim light, which is that pure white trim around the object, is right here, wherever you have that hot spot. So bam, bam. And you'll see in the before and after what simple lighting does for complex scenarios. Again, just because the scenario is complex, I've got leaves and they're golden and they're layering on each other and the moon is behind and it's and the bark is in the way and they're kind of draped in and out of the bark. No, just because explaining it is complex does not mean that doing it is complex. Another thing that's bothering me is the way you painted the moon. It's a little bit, I don't know if that's my lasso. I really can't tell. I'm gonna just backtrack. Yeah, so you painted the moon in this really, you got a preview of the before and after, but you painted the moon in this really messy way. So I'm just gonna blur it so that it, no, I can't do that. That's not good. Shoot, what do I do about the moon? I guess I could just repaint it. So we've got the glow of the moon. We've got the white. And this is the problem with having, excuse me, I'm suffocating. This is the problem with having a light source in your image. It's a really bad idea. And then what we do is we get the actual shape of the moon. I'm not going to be too crazy about rendering it since we're pretty much just focusing on details here. But if this is an attachment to the creature, then we have you know, even more reason to x-ray the light of that moon through the leaves. Select inverse, yeah, so I'm on the object, so what are you bitching about? Different layer, okay. Sorry. Sorry, Photoshop. So if the moon isn't in the sky behind, it's actually not in between, but behind and in between the two horns, the two antlers, then we would probably have the shadow pushed off to the side a little bit, just to give it that three-dimensional feel. So you see how the shadow doesn't end at the bark. Sorry, my stupid packaging is just making noise. So you see, it's off center. It's not in the middle, but to the side. And that'll help make it feel a little bit more three-dimensional. So same thing here. The shadow is displaced. It's a little bit of extra realism, but it goes a long way. Okay, and this shadow here. And this one possibly gets a shadow from that one. It goes a long way to take these moments to just think about the extension, how to extend the fundamentals even further. It goes a long way, and it shows how thoughtful you are as an artist and as a drafter, you know, to draft this much realism. It pays off because your work looks hella good and looks realistic, and realistic work gets paid. Alright, so basically that's the equation. You know, you want to get more money for your art, you have to have more realism. It's the quality. The quality is measured by the realism in there. There's color use, but that comes from realism. There's design, but that comes a lot from research and realism. There's the cast shadow of the object because of the moonlight. So I'm just going to cast one big total cast shadow, and right after smudging these, just so, because I just don't like that sharp line, it shouldn't be that strong. I'm going to, I might rethink the rim light in certain areas. And then there's the fact that you have multi-layers of leaves that might not be all the same leaf. So you have layering. So this leaf is in front. It's like a Venn diagram. One leaf is in the way and the other leaf, and they share this space, and then they end up getting these shared values. So one leaf is in front of the other. The fabric of the curtain is thicker, therefore the value drops. Now I'm just doing it in random spots. Again, so this leads me all to my next point, which is the fact that the head is glowing for no reason. So I'm going to put a big old shadow right here. And I'm only going to delete the shadow where we have a cast shadow on the head. Alright, so that's instant realism. Don't need to do anything else except erase away where your little eyeballs are. So that's all I'm doing for these, is that I'm just boosting the realism. I'm going to put a little bit of ambient light on the beak, just on the inside of the beak. I guess, yeah, that's 100% do it. Okay. And then there's the fact that you've got this ambient light on the bark. You went for a black bark, so go for it. You know, it's a black bark. You shouldn't be trying to excuse yourself into rendering black at night on the side that's looking away from the light. It doesn't work like that. Anything that can see the light, sure. So his little scarf area, neck collar thing, that can see the light. But right off of that is the cast shadow of his neck. And after that, there's nothing else. There's no light to reveal this area. And then I'm going to continue his cast shadow. And then finally, his cast shadow on the ground. Which is very easy to pull off. It's just a pure black. Darken layer. Oops. Lowered opacity. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur, apply. And I'll edit the level of blur as we get closer to the object with soft brush. So that has completed the silhouette. And then as one final motion, I will, with my soft brush, go in with darken layer and just darken everything. So I know that there's nothing exiting that range within the silhouette. You chose a silhouette, so stay true to it. And then this cast shadow wouldn't wrap all the way down. A cast shadow is not wallpaper. Write that back to me. So a cast shadow doesn't wrap. It just sings. I'm joking. Bad joke. It just sits wherever the light can touch. A cast shadow only accesses what the light accesses. The cast shadow and the light work together. There is no light in that area. There's not going to be a cast shadow wrapping around that area. Okay, so let's take a look at the before and after. A couple more little areas here. You're all probably cringing. All right, so this is the realistic rendition of your piece. Design-wise, I think I don't like the beak. I just don't like it. Something about it is not working for me. Maybe it's the brow bone. It doesn't feel cute. Maybe it's the shape of the eye socket. So design-wise, this is the part of my critique, that's the design aspect. Maybe you can make the eyes a little bit cuter. For me, a baby with downturned eyes is just ugly. I'm sorry. I've seen some ugly fucking babies. And usually they're just ugly in the first couple years, but then, god damn, some babies just never exit. So look up an owl skeleton, baby owl skeleton, cute babies. You'll see that most of the eyes really don't have this strong brow bone, and the ugly animals that are ugly when they're babies, or the ugly babies, are animals that have strong brow bone on the baby. So this brow bone you had, you didn't have to have it. It wasn't required. And technically there's no beak on the skeleton. Isn't there? There isn't. It's usually just the hole for the beak, and the beak is made out of something else, right? So I think I've seen a skeleton with a beak attached. I could be wrong. But I know that the beak is made out of something else. And then I'm just going to drop the value of the scene a touch more. Excuse me. I don't have, yes, I do have water. Okay. So we'll take a look at the before. Does anyone have an answer to that, whether or not beaks are made of the same? They're not bone. They're made of something else. The beak of birds are made out of the same material as our fingernails and hair. So cartilage and keratin. Okay. So I'm gonna just crop it the way I did earlier. So they're not the bone. So yeah, there you got it. There you got it. There you have it. Cartilage. So what you could do is just make it so that you have a bit more of a kind of like a discoloration, but just on the beak. So it looks like a skeleton. And that will kind of make it a little bit more cute. The crack running down the middle is also not along the symmetry line. It needs to be pushed over along the rotation of the symmetry line. If it is cutting directly down the half. That's if it is doing that. And I believe, I don't know, we could just kind of force it in. The cast shadow here got blended off. Okay. So any questions about this piece at all? I'm just gonna smudge since I'm so far, blur. And then forgot to show less on this side. Any questions at all? All right. And then why is there rim light here? I mean, there's a lot of mistakes here, and a lot of these are form study related. You could have done a form study to prepare for most of these. But before, after. I don't know why they're not on top of each other. Okay. Before, So you can see that downturned eye really doesn't help with the cuteness. It just feels like a big head of an adult on a baby body. And then the scattering and not the scattering, but the draping of the leaves and layering wasn't working because you did not use the light source color. And so that should help as well. Okay, so a lot of environment, a lot of stuff to help the creepy creature. And then now that we're dark enough, we can probably just sneak in some more glow. But I would not make that glow like a flashlight, because that's too many lights you're involving, and that should not have been then the light scenario you chose for this creature. You can also make the light bigger to make him cuter. It was because you had a downturned eye and a small pupil iris thing that it did not look cute. Okay, so I think that's definitely moving into cute. Let's move on. Okay, love these cute little candy apple element creatures. One thing I don't like, which is killing the entire scene, is this. I mean, you didn't even render it, so why worry about keeping it? It's this dark grass. All right, so this was not what I meant when I said put in minimal element to help the design. Help the design, not kill it. So we are losing the little feet and the little cute bellies and the little silhouettes. And that is absolutely the worst thing to do right now, because the entire design is based off the fact that we can see them. It's part of their cuteness. Their little useless limbs. They're just there just for the sake of being cute. You know, they're so, I mean, they don't have any digits. They're just adorable. They're just like Winnie the Pooh. But we still need to see them. Absolutely fundamental that we see them. So, oops, not the thing I wanted to do. Okay, so you could put in something, but that basic little flat horizon line, I don't think that was the best option. I don't think that was the only option you had. So one thing you could have done to add an environment is to have kind of showed where the distant fog is happening. Showed a generalized cast shadow underneath each one. So these are so adorable. Because they've got glowing elements, what's the next step for glowing elements? Terrible grass is mine. So yes, it's free to join Reddit. It's free to get critiques. Everything that you're seeing right now and every other video in my channel has been made for free, except the Patreon, but I release those at the end of every year anyway, except last year. But yes, it's all free. You can join. So yes, what do we do to environments to help promote a glowy object? It's not throw fog everywhere. Or let me see if I can lasso around these little fellas. That's a pretty good lasso. Or magic wand or whatever. Okay, so I need to combine this with this. So, no. Alright, so deselect, bring down. This layer stuff always drives me bananas. Okay, so, no, select inverse. Select inverse, okay, and then disconnect that. Okay, so we go back to, okay. So what we do as a whole is we just darken the thing now, but not so dark we lose the silhouettes, but just dark enough. So we get to see these little guys' cuteness really come through. So that bounce light you had at the top. And then now that I messed around with that, actually it looks better to have a dark sky and a light base. Because now we get to best of both worlds. Not so much a gradient, so take it easy, don't just throw gradients. I'm being very deliberate with the cast shadow. And I kind of want to choose a direction for the cast shadow to go. In front of them, behind them, generally underneath them. Zooming out is the best way to figure out what the hell is going on. Okay, so just take a look at that. And now maybe some moonlight is what's revealing the tops of these little guys. I have absolutely no critique about them. They're just so perfect and so cute. I think a bluish ambient light might help. And I'm just going to let that blue sit on anything at the top. But using what you've got here, I'm going to try to close off some of these unnecessary highlighters. And they've got little glows in their belly, which makes them look so fucking cute. This one's like, I'm hungry. It's like, it's okay, it's okay. Thomas, I'll get you one. We'll get you something to eat. Alright, so before, inversed, and then you had all that, and then after. And then now you get this really cool opportunity to, I think I can deselect, to bring in that fog and that mist that you had earlier. And this will show, and there's no excuse to have magical fog. Magical fog, it exists and serves only itself. Magical fog has no master. Magical fog saves the illustrator. It is the illustrator's muse. Magical fog. Alright, so. Oh my god, Thomas. Yes. The design is phenomenal. The presentation is abysmal because it killed the design. So really think about what you guys are doing with your environments. They're just supposed to be aiding. They're not supposed to be a bunch of little grass blades killing the scene. By the way, I name every cute animal or raccoon dressed in people clothes Thomas. That's like my go-to. I'm not sure why that name is so cute. Alright, so I'm letting this little fog swirl around them. I'm being really sporadic and kind of crazy with my brush. I'm just letting the brush do the work. And my hand is kind of, you can hear it. And that is also helping out. And then they themselves, on their own, are creating a glow. So you can put the glow behind them. You can put the glow in front of them. You've done a lot of glowing already, but as a whole, they should glow in this environment. That's why we darkened it. So I don't want to put the glow in front of them because now they look like specters, but I've destroyed the contrast. So what I'm going to do is just select where we were before and just delete at the glow outside of where they are. Oh, no, select inverse, delete inside. Yeah, so that we just have this really cute glow. And I'm going to double it up and delete it where it's under them because it shouldn't be under them. They're not floating. And just let it kind of emerge from, oh no, did I add it? Shit, I added it to the fog layer. That's okay. Fuck. That's okay, I'll go back. I can always take this layer and go backward. And when I only had a fog layer and delete. Okay, cool. Alright, so you can see that glow is nice. And I'm going to just select this and go back to before I destroyed it. I just had the fog. And then now I get the fog back. Yeah. Now we got this nice glow on them. We got their little fog. And the canvas really doesn't need to be that long. It's not a standing character. Okay, so you have a lot of options left. You have a lot of ambient moonlight you can bring in, which let me show you what it does. It works really, really nicely. But it means you kind of have to have a terminator line right at the point where that bounce light is necessarily not necessarily a bounce light, but it's there, causing that terminator. You just have to show where that is. And then the top of that leaf, get some of that moonlight. And it's just a really nice ambient presence of the moonlight. Sorry about my shitty brush. That's acceptable. Excuse me. You guys want some perspective? I used to go in every single video before publishing it and edit out every hiccup, burp, weird guttural sound that emerged from me. I would stop right there and write down the exact timestamp for when that happened because I was so nervous about being inappropriate. Now I'm just burping and I don't give a shit. And it just shows, like, no, as you get older, you really do care less and less and less about things that are so dumb. So we have that cast shadow. The fog can also have a cast shadow on it, which is really a cool little trick. Just like that. And that's really it. There's a lot I want to change. I want to keep changing, but I'm gonna just boost the levels a touch more. So that's how you provide, you know, a nice environmental, you know, surrounding. That's what I mean by minimally present environment to support the characters. It's not something that we would use to destroy the piece or destroy their silhouette. I mean, it's still a little bit dark underneath them, but I want to go backward, but it's okay. I'm just going to do the same thing I did in the before, where I'm just going to, because the cast shadow isn't unified, I'm just going to show where their little feet kind of let in some of that moonlight. And that way we can get the silhouette back. But again, it should not be destroying the piece. It should be helping it. Environments are not... If you're drawing every single blade of grass, man, just go take a nap and come back and make better decisions with your art. Don't draw every single blade of grass. Everybody knows that's not how we do it. That's not how we do things around here. Go take a nap, Emily. Okay, so I'm just deleting just so that his shadow is bigger, obviously, because he's chunkier, obviously. Weak ass grass. The lasso here wasn't that great, so I would recommend you clean up the lasso, you know, when you do it with yours. And I'm just gonna make this a little bit more wrapped around them instead of just a universal glow, and that kind of will personalize the glow for them. One thing you are missing is definition in the eyes. So is it like a melting molasses glowing? We do want to see something. Like I said earlier, I'm going to be doing this a lot just because it really helps that cuteness read. She's so fucking cute when we put those things in. And it kind of just completes the piece, even though it was a tiny, stupid little circle. That's why I said I'll be doing it a lot, because a lot of these look like they just need that little bit of push. And he's kind of just tending to his brother. He's just checking on his brother. His brother says he's hungry. Oh my God, I'm gonna explode. This is so cute. He's like, hey, Thomas, it's okay. We're gonna get lunch soon. We're gonna eat little human babies. Okay, maybe not that, but yeah. So see, it just feels done, even though all we added were 2 little thingies. Just because that cute, creepy is hard to balance. Yeah, I know. It's just something to put in there, because the eye sockets are a frame. And if the eye sockets are empty, what happens? What do we talk about the villain? Can anyone answer this question? What is it about eye sockets and the villain? Why does it make it? Why does it result in creepy? Okay, so if we wanted to make these feel like the children of Oogie Boogie or whatever his name is from Nightmare Before Christmas, what did they all have in common? Outside of the fact that it's a Tim Burton production, which everybody has dark circles, but they all had dark circles. So if you wanted to make them a little bit more on the bad kid side, you can just give them those dark circles, and that'll make them look more evil, as you can see. So when we have empty eye sockets, to answer the question, villains have dark circles under their eyes, which mimics the eye socket, which mimics a skull, which is why we use the skull to design villains, because it makes them more dangerous looking and scary and unhealthy, and it makes them look, not that it's funny, and I always have to do this disclaimer, it makes them look like cancer patients, because they look like they're void of life. Again, God help anyone dealing with that, but what I'm trying to say is that that's why we use the skull. So when we have an empty eye socket or an empty eye hole, we end up what? With a scary, demonic looking character or a villain. I moved the nose, nostril holes over just because it looks like he's in perspective. Okay, so let's look at the before and after. Before, really plain, almost pitch black base. No reason to have that. You can still have fog in a dark scene. After, running more moonlight from the top, which you can do way better, by the way, because your lasso will be cleaner than mine. And you can really push that moonlight on either side of both apples. By the way, I don't know why I only did one. That's nice. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, so oopsie. Okay, so yeah, that moonlight definitely helped. I need to clean up this one too. Yeah, we would see the inside of the apple illuminated too. At least for this little chunky fella. And then filter, blur, just because I ain't got the time. Okay, so again, to recap, we've got before, after. Nice environment, clean, Skyrim loading page, elegance. Who's speaking Russian? Please stop speaking Russian. Please speak English. Why are we just ignoring the Russians? I've had it with this shit grass and this shit plane. it for sure shows. Yeah, so it's hard to transition your creative design, creative creature design, brain mode into environment design. But once you learn the fundamentals of light environment, you know, it's hard to make a mistake because it's all really basic. You have a glowing object, darken the background, darken it on the slider. Do you guys notice I use the slider a lot because it gives me a comparison. I get to decide, oh, I'm done here. You know, I'm done here. This is great. Let me just stop here and I know what I needed. If I'm just picking colors out of here blindly and not comparing or swatching or going back and forth, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to pick the wrong one. Okay, boys and girls. I'm just going to blur away the grossness of my lasso tool. All right, so let's move on. So flatten. Good work on these. I love this one. It was so cute. I wanted to take a look at this one. As you can tell, this one has the same problem, but it's going to be hard for Miss Istebrak to select these appropriately. By Jove. How on earth am I supposed to select all this? We're watching a lot of Harry Potter. Sorry. By Jove. Alright, so darken it. You could darken it and bring in that kind of blue we had from the last critique, and that would be picked from the same range, just in blue, just over here. And still we need sliders to clean it up, but this blue is nice. It's a very dim navy. It's not going to eat up the scene, and it's just a blue scene to help the painting. So we have these. So this is the element of bonfire, the spirit of the bonfire, which is such an amazing coupling of words. It just seems to work. And then we've got, obviously, the glow of the fire, which is messed up right now. So I'm going to duplicate layer. How do I do this? Okay, so I'm going to duplicate the layer, select and delete, put this down, put that color, oopsie, deselect, put that color down, merge that down, duplicate this layer. All right, delete all of the leaves except the fire. So we get the glow of the fire back is why I'm doing this. Sorry if my southern accent marginalizes you. Sorry if you feel marginalized. Okay, so I'm just deleting everything. And this title as well. Alright, so there goes another accent. No one is safe. Alright, filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Alright, so that's helped us get some of that glow back. And this is all just for the fact that I had to delete the background. You already had a glow, so it's not me critiquing that you didn't have one. And I'm just gonna soft brush delete at the fires. Do a better job than this. Don't use soft brush for everything. I only use soft brush because I have no time and I have to cover literally 7 more pieces. Might not do them in this thoroughness though. I might just look at those because I can't do any more Halloween stuff after this weekend. Okay, so yes, darkening the scene helps it a lot. And then you can saturate if you want to touch more blue. So we're talking about glowing, another x-ray of leaves. So subsurface scattering may be used here. Subsurface scattering happens in 2 ways: illumination and saturation. And where subsurface happens, sorry, I'm just touching my mouth. Where subsurface happens is in the core shadow. Where did you put a shadow? That's where you get your brush. I mean, that's where you get your dodge tool. Yes, dodge tool. And you just force it to illuminate the shadowed sides. It's going to be really tricky in some areas. That's technically subsurface scattering. It's visible in the highlighted section, sure, but it's not visible. It's visible mostly in the shadowed areas because it's dark enough to reveal the light trapped in there. Because dodge tool is a, you know, we want to stay careful using it. So I'm just going to use color layer to color correct these subsurface areas because they're all messed up. I'm going to saturate them as well. So sponge tool saturate now that I have a solid color in that area. Too much though. And that's technically subsurface scattering. It's not something that happens in a light area that is in a mid-tone or is near something light. That's not where it happens. It happens in a core shadow. So just take a look at the before. Before, only in the core shadows. Where core shadows happen is where subsurface happens. Now because the light is coming behind this leaf, I actually don't want to just do that. I want to do what we did in the start, which is X-ray the head and show how the head comes through. So I'm going to get dodge tool again and kind of go crazy a bit. Turn off the tech tones. So this is a really tricky way of messing with this. All right, because I have to do a reversal. So I have to go back to before I did that. Paste. Delete at the shadow. Lock and color correct the area. So I might just use normal actually. Just use like a orangey red mixed with the yellow as well. And then just delete at the sides. Oopsie. And then delete away at where I want some of that leaf detail to come through. Because that fire is directly behind some of the leaf. And I think we are losing a little bit of detail, not allowing the fire to kind of get X-ray through some of this stuff. And this leaf isn't going to be dark. This leaf is going to be fully lit, almost as an ember itself. Because it's directly behind. So you see before and after. It's directly behind the front of, sorry, the fire, and the fire is directly behind it. And so it's silhouetted and X-rayed, and it's got that illuminator. And I'm just gonna burn the ends. Okay. Might drop it down because the thing is with embers that they're dark and they're deeply saturated, so you might want to move away from the grays that you do have and intensify the volume. And then when it comes to any kind of fire, whoopsie, what the hell, you want to show the glow. So that's just the bloom of the soft brush. It might be the wrong color, but we'll try it after. No, it's fine. And that's bleeding through each major section. The eyes get their own thing. And guess what I'm doing with the eyes? Yep. I'm going to do the same thing. It just helps the scene when you actually have something in the sockets, even if it's a hot fire, or it just helps. And it can be just darkness all around. But when it comes to cuteness and designing cute characters, circular eye is a go-to. I'm giving you like design industry secrets over here. Notice how many characters in cinema have these perfectly circular plain eyes, and they're like some of the cutest characters, iconic characters. I like the ambient light on the embers. That's really cool. All right, don't forget to desaturate the hottest parts of a fire. They're actually pretty white. You don't want to just a bunch of yellow everywhere like a noob. The hottest points have pure white. That's the palette of fire. Okay. So flatten. Select all. Cute creature. I love it. Before, a little bit plain. Doesn't really feel lit. Doesn't really feel combustion. After, much better environment color. And then again, like I did with the dudes, if you have a less grainy soft brush, mine is grainy because I use it on skin and I like that stippled skin pore effect. Shit, wrong brush. Actually, that brush might work if I use it with Gaussian, but it doesn't matter. So just a bunch of glow so that it can actually feel like a flaming little thing. Because you saw it from a distance, what would you see? Just a big glowing orb. You zoom in and then you see the detail. So you want to make sure you have that bloom. So before, after, a little goes a long way. I suggest you go back and delete it where we don't have a glow. So major areas that need to stay high contrast so they don't get diffused. We're just putting the glow where it's needed. Okie dokie, let's move forward. A lot of just basic texture talk, right? So wait, where do people talk to Russian? Oh wow, I wish I can do that with my brother's account. Thank you for the critique. The changes helped a lot. You're welcome. This bonfire one was one of my favorites. Me too. Oh, to desaturate the hottest part of a fire. Yep. This one is cute. It looks like an onion. I still don't understand it. The three eyes being droopy look like old people eyes. They're not working as cute. So if you had a, you took away this little thing. I already had come up with a joke about what that thing is, but I can't say it because it's just too gross. But you guys probably know what I would say. It just it looks wrong. It looks like anatomical medical condition. It just does not look right. So let's get rid of it. Okay, so now we're left with a floating ball, which is essentially the base of your design. You were designing a character as a floating ball with an eye in it. That's the big summary about where you were going with it. Diffuse the cast shadow a little bit so it's not so dark. The eyes are not cute. This is not cute because they look like old people eyes. I'm sorry, those are the rules. Old does not equate to cute. They are opposite ends of the spectrum. So what do we do so that this little leaf ornament looking creature of Halloween looks cute? So it's got these, so it's a jellyfish technically. Honestly, to salvage this without scrapping it, because if this was brought to a table and I was hiring a bunch of artists to design cute creatures, this wouldn't pass, right? So let's get back to the basics and just talk design and just keep the sphere going. Let's keep this sphere going. And just try to break down exactly what's happening with the design just as a sphere. So we have the antlers coming out of the side, which are too symmetrical. So we could go ahead and put these up here. And then we have these draping things. We can get rid of that. We can do something where it's like a floating eyeball. All right, that can also be cute. Or you can do the go-to for cute creatures, cartoony but realistic, which is this, no? And still have that basic design. What you were doing before was not working. You had three eyes They were rendered realistically enough to read as real eyes. They had puffiness to them and pinkness to them, which made them look old. They were squinting like they can, what's that over there? You know, like they couldn't see what was nearby. So you have a lot of directions to go to. And repeat after me. Simple is closer to cute than complex is. Cute is simple. And simple is closer to cute. So don't overcomplicate anatomy, because as soon as you start over rendering something that's supposed to be cute. Alright, so realistic. What happens when you start over rendering cartoony characters? This, the Uncanny Valley. The horrible monstrosity, a horrible sin against man that is the Uncanny Valley. And what is that other than what you drew for us today, which was the realistic eyes on the circular head? You were drawing this. No eyebrows. Tiny little dots for the eyes. Okay, so this is not working. This is not working. Whoever designed this, please go back to art school, you know, or maybe just leave art school. That's probably why you did this. This is not how you make a realistic character. Oh, God, if I see one more realistic character cartoon badly done, I'm gonna cry. Who the fuck looks like this? How is this realistic? You can't take the nose to mouth ratio and assume that on a realistic skin, because then you just drew a deformed. I'm not gonna start critiquing this, but this is just it's not working. You're just trying to creep people out, and you did the same hair. So if you're going for a realistic version of the hair, why not go for a realistic version of the boy? He's just a basic boy. You could have used any basic boy if it was just going to be the shirt, the pants, and the hair. And then for some reason you decided to adapt the cartoon features and put realistic skin on top. That's Uncanny Valley across the board. So please stay away from the Uncanny Valley. Don't make realistic things out of unrealistic things. It's a monstrosity. It's like an antithetical to itself. It doesn't work. It doesn't happen. It's a deformity. It's a mutation. It's what we would call ill or sick in the realistic realm, in this three-dimensional dimension. Anyway, this one is great. It's working off the others. It's really, really cute. One thing that you do need is just a bit more of that glow. So it could be just a plain white glow. It doesn't have to be, oh, again with the fucking, it doesn't have to be anything intense. You could do a red glow as well. So Uncanny, the red glow works really nicely for that evil. But let me show you a trick to use this as the playground for it. Sometimes you can have a red flame, get this, with a different colored glow to get that magical element. So we can have a red flame with a blue glow. Is that not nice? Is that not but nice? All right, so you can erase away at the heart of the flame. You do have to color match a little bit, but it definitely works. Cool little, another little trick for you guys to play with. All right, so it doesn't have to be plain red. You could keep it plain red if you want to just do that as well. You can make it a cooler red, a warmer red. It's really up to you. I think warm red is really boring. Not just because we've seen it a lot, but because it's boring. So you've got a sheep, a lamb type thing, and then you've got a cute character. So what I would say, to keep it closer to cute and further away from creepy, where is my clone stamp tool thing? Oops. Alright, and I'm just messing around. So we get rid of the nose. It's a lot more cute that way. You have the circular eyes, which is great. I recommend putting in the other one, even if it's rotten. Because it's not really a realistic eye, right? Even if the other eye is rotted out. It's not a realistic eye. Excuse me. So blur that a little bit. And then what you could do is just grab the whole mouth and bring it up closer. That also helps the cute read. So it's still creepy. It's definitely got cute. It's not only creepy. Remember, creepy creatures, but they're cute. So this is now cute. Right? I think the symmetrical smoke, the worst thing you could do is take a random texture and make it symmetrical and give it order. It's like brushing smoke. Have you ever gotten a comb and burned some incense and tried to brush the smoke to make it more civilized? No, if you don't have the skill or the sense or the instinct, the design instinct to randomize a random element, then just don't paint it, because then it's just destroying your painting. Alrighty. So it's smoke. Come on. It's smoke. It needs to be randomized. Don't just put two little pigtails of smoke. It's just not helping the scene. Look at what happened when we kind of just, first of all, I'm going to unify with the blue so it looks like one collective force. And then I'll go in and you weren't even doing much with that smoke. We're kind of now focusing nicely on the character again. Okay, so now it looks like a real environment surrounding her. Some of the smoke underneath has caught her light. If you don't like the amount of if you don't like the, you know, how dispersed this, or as a single body the smoke feels, just go in and kind of show how, you know, it's kind of dispersing around her as if there's a wind and or breeze and pushing the smoke along. But a lot of these have to do with presentation. A lot of these have to do with the fact that you guys have confused what cute even means. Isn't that weird? The most popular way to design creatures is to design them as cute. And the most popular thing to draw is something cute. Look at all the 14-day challenges. Pretty, pretty, cute, handsome, pretty. Look at all the anime. Cute, 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 until it's sickly, almost pedophilia level cute. And the thing is that you guys don't even know what cute is if you had an assignment that had cuteness in it. Isn't that funny? Doesn't that make you angry? Because you think you know cute until you have to draw something cute. Except the person who drew the little candy apple kadamas. You know exactly what the fuck cute is. But the rest of us, we need to work on our image of cute, because it really is very jarring how little about cute you guys understand. Okay, so stronger environments is also another big problem. This should have revealed to you. So before, after, a little bit more easy on the eyes, as well as maintaining all the creepy elements you were depending on before. Don't use the nostril holes until you're drawing like an actual animal that like the bat, like that works because it's helping it read as a bat. You don't need to draw the two nostril slits because we're not necessarily drawing a villain. We're drawing a creepy, cute creature. Okay, this one it's just perfect. It's still very cute, and it's managed to keep all of the toothy, like the toothiness of a creature that makes it feel like he could bite my face off. He could peel my face off if he wanted to. So that's nice. I like the balance. I don't know why the nose is so bright though. I'm not sure what's causing the nose to read as so bright. You could just darken it a little bit. I know it's flat enough to see this. You know what? I'm going to darken the whole thing and go back to what I feel like is catching the light. So it would be... That's the only critique I have about this one. Extremely, extremely cute. Just maybe too bright a nose. You have a very gritty texture going on here. So it's hard for me to paint over it without it not feeling like a complete before and after. But you really could have pushed the rim light, or just the light really, at the end of the day, over here. And the bark itself is casting a shadow on the creature. So just like that. maybe the feeling of a light coming from beneath is actually really nice. And then the inside of the tail would only get the light, not the whole tail, unless it's see-through. And this tail would cast a shadow on this part. Okay, and this whole thing casts a shadow on this whole thing. So cast shadows wake things fuck up, you know? They open the whole scene to all this greatness. Then we've got a cast shadow of the body on these whiskers. We've got a little bit of cast shadow here. The cast shadow of the head on the ear. And suddenly we've got this really, really strong volume and an environment. It's like painting the background, right? It makes the background feel not as a backdrop, but as the space behind the character. So before, after. Cast shadows go a long way, and long, dark cast shadows are just divine. Divine, okay? So I hope that helps. Let us look at this one. So for this one, I mean, I've talked a lot about it already, but I just want to take it home. The best environment color for these is just the dark value in the back. And to make this look less like the Pokemon, whatever it's called, I forget its name. So I'm going to darken the whole thing. Ghastly, right? That's the Pokemon. I'm going to darken that. We want to just, what am I going to do? Does anybody know what I'm doing with the eyes? What am I doing? Oh, the eyes missing is also really nice. In this case, it's a blob, not a bat, so you get to get away with that. But 2 dots for the eyes will make it look less like you ripped off the Pokemon itself. And it still looks creepy and cute. Hella, right? And let me tell you something about the dots and the eyes. You can bring them close to each other for a more dorky looking character. You can put them apart to have an even dorkier looking character, but also very cute. Just like they do with the design of the frogs, not the frogs, the pigs from that game Angry Birds, which was all I played 2012. Or bring them together for that nice balance, which is nice, right? And so the dark background obviously needs to be coupled with the glow. Because that's why we darken the background, so the glow is visible. We don't just darken it because it matches. And then we've got the colors. Now that the light source is strictly blue, it works as a film through which all colors are muted. And then I'm going to get my sponge. My sponge. Where is my sponge? Okay. On saturate. And saturate just the inside as if he's like kind of see-through. He's got that subsurface almost glow from the inside. So if you wanted to take this into a render, this is how you do it. And of course you need that. Let me see if I can mess with it as if it's a torch, you know, as if it's like a CV, like you'll see. All right, so blur, motion blur. So I'm going to make it a 90-degree angle. And just make it glow upward as if it's a really, really strong flame. And so that's a nice little texture trick. Sometimes, like I said last class, blur helps texture. Like we blurred the cheeks to make it seem like the cheeks are a softer texture. You definitely have, blur is the forgotten element. It's like the forgotten thing you do to things. So don't forget about the power of blurring your characters. All right, so if anyone was wondering, if the designer of this original piece was wondering, how do I make this realistic? How do I take it into the realism it needs to go into? This is pretty much this. These are pretty much the steps. I wouldn't recommend making the mouth equally white all over. Give yourself some space to mess with the mouth so that it can be, you know, a little bit more gradual, a pure white, you know, white only on the center or something like that. And then I blurred the eyes out, but that's okay because you can put another circle within the circle. Now he just looks cute. To make him creepy, you're gonna have to maybe this is a long ass class and I'm late. Expand into the Cheshire Cat, the mouth, and maybe bringing the eyes closer together. Or you can just go for, you know, the calcifer fucked up looking eyes, and that is really cute too. Not the eyes don't have to be symmetrical. It's another instant design element. You guys should be writing this shit down. I'm sorry, that must have been really loud. I know when I smack my pen around, it's like really loud in the mic. Okay, so paint bucket. So before, kind of like a recreation of a Pokemon we all know and love. And after, a little bit more dorky. You can give him one tooth if you wanted to, but in its environment, in its natural environment. I would say be careful with the pure blue backgrounds. I only chose that just because that's where we were going with this, with the thing, but I'll leave that blue rim around and let things turn kind of pitch black towards the edges of the canvas, just to mimic what actually happens in real life. This light isn't so pure. And then dodge tool and kind of mess with that. Maybe, no, that's a bit strong. Just something like that, and just keep going. Layer the textures on, blur again, re-render, blur again. But yeah, so let us finish off for today. The rest I cannot critique, but I can look at. This is super cute. It's like the creature of Decay. We got a skeleton, a rib cage, a you know, the wilted flowers. This looks like I'm not sure what that is, but it's a really cool design. It reminds me of a coral. Then you've got the feet, the skeleton feet, the decaying branches. He's kind of wearing a coat, which is super cute. I think what you should start off with is increasing the size of the head. Oops. That will help a lot, not kind of let the scene be a length, like it's like a vertical design. Will kind of flatten out the design a little bit. So now he feels a little awkwardly tall, like an extra large baby, or like a large kid. It's just bigger than the other kids. Here it feels more like a cute little bobblehead. I think the amount of twigs you have is too much. We get the idea. There's no need to overdo the twigs because stringiness in design looks bad. Stringy strings everywhere looks pretty bad. It's just something about it. It just flattens the scene. So we don't need that many. It kind of just makes sense. I won't delete that one because that one's creating depth. I'll just delete this one. Some are kind of too long. So randomize the sizes of it. That one's got the leaf on it, so I don't delete that one. Maybe I'll delete this one. Okay, and then you've got more stringy stuff down here. Really, it doesn't kill the scene, it just get rid of the twigs. You're kind of, you took it home with the, you know, with the ribs, but to keep them, it's not either or, it just feels a little bit like it's overkill. And the long coat feels a little bit like a royal prince type thing. You could just give him a short coat. That way he's got these cute little legs. Makes him look a little bit cuter, and then just shorten the whole thing. So I don't like adjusting your designs, but the long coat kind of feels a little awkward. Okay. These are really, really cute. This looks a little bit less like a creature and more like an element or a elemental, or like a Goliath or a golem or something. This looks like a cute creature. but you've got the downturned eyes. It doesn't kill the design to just put in the circular shape. He'll look a lot more cute. If you do the downturned eyes, you look like a pathetic creature. Something not feel sorry for, but just to, well, that's cute. But like that. I don't feel sorry for this. I feel grossed out by it. But I feel sorry for this because we shrunk the mouth. But you don't need to shrink the mouth because the mouth is inside the eye line. But you do have to get rid of the droop. This is not cute. This is just creepy. So that's because of the eyes that the tiny little pupils. That's never going to help things read as cute. Tiny little dots, it does not work. This looks cute because she's kind of just feels like she's just chaotic. That's kind of adorable. It looks like a pug, you know. So how is a pug cute? How is Jake the dog cute? It's because the eyes are so big and the mouth fits inside. So you can borrow from animals to see how they pull off the cute. And that will help. This is the same artist, I think. So yeah, getting rid of that. This doesn't work because it's a long body and I can't really increase the size of the head. But if you did have a, you know, like an animal, and then you had the little beak, and then you had the small body. So you're pulling from that small body look, and then you've got these big droopy eyes. That's okay. That works too, the droopy eyes, but the circular also helps. And then you can just show that when he's running, he's kind of just tucking his little penguin things behind him. So borrow from this template of cute, but attach the pumpkin on top. So you've got the little pumpkin head. You've got the pumpkin mouth. Okay. But you want to keep it creepy, so increase the size. You can shrink the eyes as well. You can add in the nostrils to help it read as creepy. How do you make a long body cute? So let's think of a snake shape. So it's with the head. If you keep the head large, that's how anything stays cute or pretty. That's cute, like a snake bird. I don't know why that just came to me. So the little, like a snake swan bird thing. Ooh, that could be something you guys borrow for the crystalline creatures. Ooh, that'd be really cool to see. No, I'm just sketching. Anyway, I've got to get going. So thank you everyone for submitting something for today. You guys submitted some amazing stuff. I really loved everything I looked at today. It was all beautiful. Let's take a quick recap. Okay. So mostly environmental changes, thinking about the light source. Some design changes, yeah. I think the short coat looks a lot cuter just because kids wear short coats. I barely ever see kids wearing long royalty coats, you know? I just see kids wearing short, cute coats. So if you're borrowing from the cute kid, this is still creepy. It's a kid with ribs sticking out. But it's borrowing from the silhouette of a toddler, going like a grade 1 kid or a grade 2. Canadians say grade and then they say the number. So this definitely helps you complete the piece. Lots of stuff about glowing, about cute and balancing creepy with cute. I really recommend you redo this one because I love the theme, the night and the bringing of the night. So it could be like a yin-yang character. So it's two creatures, but technically on the Pokedex, the creepy dex, it reads as one. You know those tandem Pokemon that actually are one Pokemon? I don't think they ever did that. Did they ever do that? Then there's reworking some of these. This is adorable. You can put some, you know, hands on it just like we have here. But not before, not with the old people eyes, not with the cataracts. This one is just about the shadows and all of that stuff. Again, you can see how the beak is kind of not helping the cute, but tilting the eyes down definitely helped. So thank you everyone for joining. I really appreciate you guys coming to these. It means the world. I'm happy to host them. If you learned something today and you want to give back, please join me on Patreon. You can join as a $1 patron. That's $1 a month. to help keep this community alive and to keep these challenges coming through this year and the next. And no matter what happens, no matter who wins the election next week, we still keep Critique Hour going. So if you want to support, also please go vote. For the love of God Almighty, please go vote. Please, for the love of all things good, for a vote against hypocrisy, a vote against misogyny, a vote against xenophobia, a vote against racism, a vote against white supremacy, a vote against fascism, a vote against, oh yeah, I'm going there. Go vote blue no matter who. Please vote. Vote hard. Vote once, but vote hard, okay? Just make it, just go hard. You know, wear a costume and go vote, all right? No, you can't do that. Wear normal clothes, please. And if you want to submit your work for challenges, if you want to join the next challenges, which is hella cool, it's not as creative in that it has tons of textures, but it's definitely creative in the kind of creatures they're going to choose. So all these creatures are made out of the same thing, which is a challenge essentially. But they can be ice cats or ice snakes or giant golems, or no humanoids though, no characters, no ice boobs as I said last time. But it can be any kind of creature. So we're pushing the creature design because that's always fun. It's nice to have a break from all the character and environment art and the 14-day challenges. So creatures, but they're all made out of ice and crystals and snow and all of that good shit. So I'll see you guys on Tuesday, the 3rd. Hopefully I start seeing some experimental stuff in the wall here. Thank you for joining. Join on Reddit. Please support on Patreon, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.